would be allowed would drop to 8 million gallons a day on a peak day.
What is it currently?
Currently, well, our highest peak day was 28 million, about June of 2006. So you can see that's considerably lower. Our hope is that with the 8 million from Lake Lanier and 12 million from Cedar Creek, that would give us 20 million. You know, that would give us enough water to ensure the public health is taken care of. We need to make sure that the hospital continues to have water, that our schools continue to have water, that our businesses, our existing businesses continue to have water. To get directly to your answer, I think even in a best case scenario with us getting the Cedar Creek plant online, we'll have to have some sort of restrictions on growth. We won't be able to continue to add customers to the system. There are those out there who believe, well, what are they going to do? You know, if the judge's ruling, if it's not resolved in 3 years, we'll just keep pumping the water. Well, that's really easy to say if you're not the people who'd be held in contempt of court in the federal court. The city of Gainesville certainly wants to avoid that expense to our customers.
Do you expect any problems trying to obtain the permits from EPD?
No, I don't. No, I don't. The county, when they built the reservoir, that reservoir was permitted for 12 million gallons a day on a peak day, about 7.5 on an average day. They're allowed to withdraw water from the Oconee River, which really pumps over into the reservoir. The reservoir is really a pump storage facility, and it kind of holds water from the Oconee River that's picked up during rain events and high water flows. But no, I don't anticipate any problems.
How will the new plant compare to the city's two existing plants?
The Riverside plant was built in 1953. It's a 25 MGD facility. The Lakeside plant is a 10 MGD facility, but it was built in anticipation to be able to go to 100 million. So it's a lot of the pieces to that plant are really larger than what's needed for a 10 MGD facility. The Cedar Creek facility, whereas we'll initially build it for 12 MGD, and it could remain a 12 MGD size for its life, we're going to build it such that it could easily be expanded in case other reservoirs yet to be named were developed, or if the county were to desire to bring the water from their Glade Farm reservoir, which we support greatly, over to the Cedar Creek plant.
You mentioned the Glades Farm reservoir and working with the county. You have been working with the county for the last few years on the water issues. Tell us about the working relationship between the city and the county when it comes to water.
The county, as you know, several years ago, they had a sales tax issue that they built some lines out in East and North Hall. Several years ago, as I mentioned it earlier, January 2006, the city and county reached an agreement, in essence, where the city would operate and maintain those facilities and provide the same service throughout Gainesville and Hall County. So all of our customers, whether you're in Claremont or you're outside of Flowery Branch, get the same rate, the same quality of service. And what we really wanted was an operationally unified system. In essence, that agreement is a lease purchase agreement. After we operate those facilities for some 25 years, they'll be fully ours. It's worked very well. At the time, we did not include the Cedar Creek Reservoir in that because there were so many questions out there as how that would really be developed with a private-public relationship, as the county's been working on. They've done a great job over there. They've got a good plan right now, and as you know, there was public comment recently for the Army. We hope that they're successful. And right now, the plan has been for them to discharge the water from that reservoir into Lake Lanier and then have us withdraw it at one of our treatment plants, either Lakeside or Riverside. There's been some discussion recently that it's possible that passing the water through the lake, through Lake Lanier, won't be feasible, and if that's the case, then the water from Glade Farm would need to be treated at a treatment plant And we want to make sure that we haven't closed any doors when we build the Cedar Creek plant to be able to treat that water on the county's behalf from the Glade Farm Reservoir or any other reservoir that they or we build in the future.
Will our actually building this new water treatment plant have any effect on the rest of the state with regard to water usage?
Well, my response really would be is this issue is not an Atlanta issue. This is a state issue. It's going to affect all areas of the state in one way or the other. We can't have severe economic downturn in Atlanta and not affect other areas of the state. From a water supply viewpoint, I think that every bowl of water that we've got in North Georgia is going to be a benefit to the state. It may be that people who are looking to go a little bit farther south will be able to come here, but I think the real answer is this is a state issue. We need to resolve it congressionally or through the governors, or else the entire state will be affected from the ruling.
Just before we close, as we mentioned earlier, we heard from the mayor. The mayor has authorized your staff to go ahead and
directed our staff.
Directed your staff to put together what we call a request for proposal for design and construction information. Tell us, here we are now in September, what this process will be like for your staff. How long does something like that take?
Well, like I said earlier, it will take us pretty much the full 3 years to be able to go through the process. Normally, we will put an RFP out on the street. We have pre-qualified contractors that we will send this to. I think that we'll leave it a little bit open so that we can get the benefit of all these different engineers thinking as to how to best put this facility together to save not only time, but money. When that process is done, there'll be probably a 9 to 12 month, maybe even a little longer design period, and then the construction will take pretty close to 2 years. It's going to be a tight schedule.
Kelly, I see that the ducks are moving out, so I think that brings us to the end of Eye on Gainesville. Certainly, we appreciate you joining us today, and if someone has some questions about anything we've talked about, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, I can be reached at the office at 770-538-2400. Of course, you can go to the city's webpage and hit the tab for public utilities, contact me through there. My email address is krandall@gainesville.org.
Any last thoughts today?
It's going to be challenging times. I really appreciate the support of our customers. I think that the local officials, both the city and the county, I appreciate their support. And the Public Utilities Department staff, we're going to do our best to make sure this community stays in water.
Once again, I'd like to thank my guests for joining me today, Kelly Randall, Gainesville Public Utilities Director, and also Mayor Myrtle Figueres for her comments. If there's a particular issue you'd like to see us discuss, you can write to me at Post Office Box 2496, Gainesville, Georgia 30503. Email pr@gainesville.org or call 770-297-5499. For TV 18, I'm Katil Phelps.
You're watching TV 18, the government channel for Gainesville and Hall County.